now, I just wanted to show you her progress and give you somewhat of an idea of what your new expectations are going to look like, because she might be doing a lot better than maybe you would have originally expected. So one of my common premises in my dog training that I'm very consistent about, from crate to doors to teaching them how to walk, is I do not move forward when I disagree with what the dog is doing. I view forward momentum as a treat. It's a reward. So if I think about it that way, if I continue to walk with the dog who's in front of me, then I am rewarding that behavior. So when I'm doing crate etiquette and door etiquette, I use the same principle, which is I'm going to set a certain expectation, and if anything other than the expectation I have in my mind is not accomplished, I am going to stop moving forward. And in some cases, I might even move back a step and start over, just to help the dog process the information better and get it right. And the other reason why sometimes I move back is because I feel like back can tell the dog I'm disagreeing with the behavior. So forward movement is kind of the positive reinforcement, and backward movement is kind of like the exact opposite. We're actually taking away that reward and saying, no, come up with something else in order to get that reward. So that's what we're going to do with the crate to start with. The thing about Quail and all dogs, but especially Quail, is you guys have got to be consistent. Every single time you go to get her out of any crate, whether it's in the car or in the house or what have you. So keep that in mind, because she's going to get significantly better if you two both maintain the same level of expectations and are consistent about it. We might actually start to see Quail doing some of these things without us having to remind her. I do think she does have that potential. So I'm going to move this a little bit closer so that I apologize for all the movement, but I don't like to turn my camera off. So this is Quail. We have her crate covered. Leah was saying that you guys have a wire crate, and I hate to ask you guys to spend more money, but I would definitely suggest getting a plastic crate. They are more den-like. They don't have as much room, and so she will be contained more and won't circle nearly as much if you do that. So I would recommend getting a large plastic crate for Quail. And you can hear her starting to move around because now she knows I'm here. So, and then you might consider covering the crate too. I don't know if it's covered for you, but she's kind of got superpower senses, so I feel like taking away that visual might help her stay more settled in her crate. All right, so I'm going to take this off, and then we're going to watch Quail and see what she does. I might have to move the camera even closer. See, she's being real good in there, huh? And she has her e-collar on, so she knows. But she used to get a little more worked up when she first got here about me coming over to get her out of her crate. So this is definite progress. All right. So what I've noticed from Quail is that she, every time I open the crate door, she gets up out of her sit. So she usually sits. Hold on one second, I gotta turn this off. So she's usually good about sitting on her own. And then when I go to open the door, she gets out of her sit. So what I'm gonna have you do is every time she gets out of her sit, you're actually gonna close the door all the way up. All the way up. I'm gonna teach. I feel like what Quail has learned is that when the door is open, I break my sit, and so by closing the door and starting all the way over again, I'm gonna be teaching her brain when the latch opens, you don't break your sit. I'm getting a lot better about it too. The other thing that Quail's probably not going to do today, but she has done to me in the past, is she'll turn her back to me. And so if she does that to you, you either need to use the e-collar and tap her out of it, or wait until she turns around and faces you, because she is doing it to pretty much disagree with the fact that you are controlling the crate threshold. Right? It's kind of like I'm not really a part of this. It's not actually anything to do with her being disoriented or confused about where she's at. So, anytime she faces her back towards you, you should tap her out of it or wait until she turns around and faces you on her own. I really want her looking towards me too, you know? I don't want her head looking so far in the opposite direction that it's obvious that she is blowing me off. So this is better, right? Because she's like sitting in a sit. So I'm going to invite her out. Okay. And then when she gets out, I'm going to immediately pull up on the leash so that she can't spin in a circle. Great job, Quail. This is the best you've done. And so the other thing she didn't do, and I want to mention real quick before I forget, is I don't let her out if she's like moving her nose up and down. It seems really bossy to me, so I don't want her bossing me around and telling me what to do. So I'm going to I'm not going to disagree with it or anything. I'm just not going to move forward. I'm going to wait until she stops. Great job, sweetheart. Okay, so we block the spinning by pulling up on the leash. If you feel like you're not strong enough to do this, or like she's overpowering you, you can like kind of cram up into a smaller space so that she doesn't have as much room to move around and manipulate you. So you can, like, if this is a wall of crates over here, you can kind of, let's go move over closer to something that might block her, and then pull up, so that the space kind of creates more confinement to help you. I'm using the environment a lot with her to help me and her orient herself better and just straighten herself out. And you're being great. Let's go. So the next thing I'm going to do is doors. Hey, you. You dingus. Let me see over here. There we go. Okay. So I want to break the door down into 5 different steps. The first step is, good job. She's going to walk with me to the door. So from now on, Quail is going to be following you around everywhere. We're going to spend the first couple months she's home really kind of cueing her into the idea that she's got to follow mom and dad everywhere. But for the rest of her life, I would recommend that she doesn't meet you at a doorway and then you go to the doorway and have her sit, but that she actually walks with you to the doorway. So that's step 1. That's going to look like this. Let's go. I wish you could see this. Let's go. Come on, you. Over here. Hey. Sit. Get some eye boogers out. You got some eye boogers in the eyes. Okay. So if she were, since she got in front of me, and I put her in here, that might not be good enough. If she continues to break, you might need to actually turn her away from the door and back her up, and then bring her back to the door. Let's go. Let's go. But I always cross her over into here because I don't like her corralling me. So even if you need to back her up off the door, don't turn because she's turned. You know, that's her turning you, if that makes any sense. That's it, good. So when she shoots out like that, don't turn with her, because she's turning you. Get her over into the here, and then turn her. You know, that's how we're gonna block this whole corralling, circling thing that she does. All right, step one, meet. We're gonna be a team, and we're gonna walk to the door together. That's what that looks like. And we're gonna sit, good. And the step two is that you're gonna just unlatch the doorknob, right? Like that. If she shows any signs of forward movement, close it, let's go, back up. Do it again, sit. Like, you don't have to wait until she's escalated. If you see her starting to even edge forward, you can back her up. This is going to prevent unwanted aggression at the doorknob versus waiting until it happens and then addressing it. This is a preventative. All right, so I'm going to twist the doorknob, and then I'm going to pause. That's step two. Twist the doorknob and see how she responds. Let her absorb this information. We stay in a sit when that happens, and pause. And then go to step three, which is open the door and see what she does. Now, if she were to shoot out, I would call her back and turn away from the door and come back and sit her again. I would then go, I'm not going to go to step two, but I would do this. She broke her sit, so I'll show you. I wouldn't do the doorknob again. I would just gently close the door. Let's go. Sit. Back up. See, I can tell how terrible I am about sign language. I have to talk. I don't know. I'm terrible at it. Anyway, then I'm going to do step three again because she broke. Which, I mean, I made her break, but I want to give you hypotheticals. Step four is eye contact. I want to wait for the eye contact. And when then I get it, we're going to go to step five, which is here, through the door together. Let's go. Right, so I'm going to back up a little bit, make her do this again so I can explain some more stuff. You're doing so good, sweetheart. Let's go. Okay. So, step four is a eye contact pause type of step because sometimes dogs learn that when they give you eye contact, they think that's the cue to go out the door. It's not. The cue to go out the door should be an e-collar tap, and then you guys can add some form of, physical command, especially when she's off leash, to signify we're going through the door together. So that's what you guys are going to end up doing. But we don't want her to think that eye contact alone is the invitation. So that's why step four is its own step, because we need to wait and make sure that she's not anticipating at that step before we go through the door together. Now when I say here, she needs to be in that follower position. So if she bolts out, I'm going to call her back and go through the step five together again and do a here. Just like this. Wait for eye contact. Pause. Here. Good. Great job, girl. You're a good girl. So, what basically, I break these steps down, and for every step that you're just ready to do it again. You're cute. For every step that she, messes up on, I just go back to that step and readdress it, and then until she gets that step right, I'll move on to the next step. So, if she keeps messing up at step five, I don't need to go all the way back to step one. I don't need to shut the door completely and go all the way down the hallway and start all the way over again. I just need to call her back to this position and get her to walk through that doorway the way I want her to, right? So that's how doors are gonna look. I'm gonna give you one more example of doors. Let's go. Good job. Because this door goes out. Good job. Look at that. Ooh, tilt. Tilt, tilt. Good job. Hey. So that door, this door just goes into a workshop space, and you're beautiful. Or I'm gonna do this other door that goes to my outside space, because that one is a lot harder for dogs, especially dogs like Quail. Sorry, you guys, I know this is probably disgustingly dizzying. Look at me, not that. Put this down. All right. So there's my door into my yard. It's a lot more intoxicating for her when she can smell all these things. Quail, you're bumping into me, gal. Come on. So even right now, this dog room gets more traffic, and more, or I should say the traffic's more confined, so the smells are more intense. So even this is harder for her than my garage, where all the dogs are. All right, so we walk to the door together. I have her sit. I'm going to test the doorknob out. That got her to move forward. Cross her over and do it here. Quail, sit. Try the doorknob again. Pause. Good job. So, step 3, let's see how she does with the door open. Oh, she broke her sit. Let's go. Go. Over here. Sit. Good. Step 3, door opens. Great job. She stays. Now I'm going to start watching her nose and her posture, because what she'll start to do is she'll start to lean. Sit. I got to start over, unfortunately. Let's go. This is what you guys are going to end up having to do at home, because her nose draws her forward and then she loses her balance. So right now we're basically teaching her how to kind of tolerate that and still maintain her balance. She's anticipatory. Is what it is. She just doesn't have great balance, so it turns into a tilt. Or I shouldn't even say a tilt, just a lean forward. Now we're seeing that something that's intense to her, so now she's tilting. So step 4 is I'm going to wait for eye contact with this door open. And if I see that she's way more fixated on something else, this is actually, there's tension and it's actually amplifying right now, I can call her back with the door open and regather her attention. See, I just tapped the e-collar and that got eye contact. So this is a great tool for her. Wow. Like it. Good. Pause, eye contact here. Great job. So you can see that she's doing so much better with doors. And like I said earlier in the video, I think you can definitely guarantee that you won't be doing nearly as many repetitions, but at first you will, because all your doorways represent something different than mine. They represent old behavior. So it'll take some time, but if you two can stay on the same page in terms of expectations, you can get her to this point. Once you move, your doors won't have any association, so if you maintain these expectations, they'll actually become her reality to the point where that is her behavior, which should become much easier for you in the long run. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful for you guys.